Hey everyone. Okay, it's time for some real fun now. So I know that people don't like it when I talk too much, and I really should just get to the game, but this is kind of a special case because there is an unofficial fan-made patch for this game, and I just want to talk a bit about it and show how to deploy it first. So yeah, in case you don't know what game we're playing, well, it'll probably show up in the video title, but yeah, we're playing the VGA remake of Space Quest 1. So the original Space Quest 1 came out in, I think, 1986, I want to say, and 5 years later in 1991, Sierra made a VGA remake of the game. The version of that game was called version 2.0. I don't know if there was a version 1.0 or maybe version 1.0 was meant to be like the original non-VGA version of the game. I don't know. But anyway, you could actually see in the VGA remake of the game, it said version 2.0 of the game. And that was it. That was the last release of Space Quest 1 for a long, long time. It stayed that way for 26 years. And then 26 years later, in 2017, some fans of the game made a patch, and they call it version 2.1. This is version 2.1 of the VGA remake of Space Quest 1. And I'm not going to get into a lot of details of where to find the patch. I'll put a URL for it in the video description. If you Google the title of the page where it is Space Quest 1 VGA hacking. So if you just Google that phrase, you should find it. So let's get into the folder of the game, or the directory as it was still called back then. Now I haven't applied the patch yet. Let's take a look at the files that we have here. So this is basically what you do is you first install the normal game, and then you copy the files from the patch into the game directory. And then what you do is you run this file, applypat.bat. So I'll do that in just a second. So this is not actually just they didn't distribute a directly patched version of the game because that would be a copyright violation. So instead what they do is they distributed these diff files. So if you don't know what that is, don't worry about it too much, but basically all you have to do is just run that batch file. But just before I start, I just want to show you quickly this this list. This is a list of all the changes that they made. Keep in mind, these changes were made by fans. This was not done by Sierra. This was done in 2017, or probably was done over some years before that, but it was released in 2017 by fans. This is all done by fans, not by Sierra. So take a look. I'm just going to scroll through this. I'm just going to page through this quickly. I'm not going to read everything, but just to kind of give you an idea of what they've done. This is all of what they've done. They've fixed a ton of bugs, most of them very small things, like, really very minor things, like some animations are kind of glitchy. Sometimes you don't get the right cursor, or sometimes messages are a little bit, they don't make much sense. But then they also, they did a few things in terms of changing, like see here, in the restart and quit submenus, the two guys from Andromeda now have talking animations, like in Space Quest 4. So in the original game, they didn't move their mouths when they spoke. Now they do. So just a lot of little things like that. They've made a lot of little tweaks. Collectively, it's not much. There's not a whole heck of a lot to it. It's nothing, like, it's still the same basic game. You probably won't notice a lot of changes, but there are a lot of little changes, very little minor details like this. Yeah, even stuff like tweaking how the audio is, because sometimes using an MT32 it didn't work correctly. So there you go. That's it. So those are the changes they've made. So I will go ahead and run apply dot. In fact, I think I'll just type that and tab. Yeah, DOSBox's autocompletion will run here. So I'll say apply pat and let it run. Now, this is not copying any files. This is actually applying patches to the game's file. So it takes a little while. I have DOSBox cranked up to 12,000 cycles, and on a fast DOSBox like that, I think it takes about 1 minute and 20 seconds or so. So the first time I thought, no way, it can't be taking this long just to patch. Like, I mean, the whole game is what, like a few megabytes? It's like 5 megabytes. It can't take this long just to. Oh, that's interesting. And DOSBox crashed. That's interesting. I was not expecting that to happen because it did not happen like that before. Okay, that's great. Let's try this again, shall we? I wonder if that was just some kind of weird glitch that happened. Just one time. That's Murphy's Law, isn't it? You just kind of get Gosh, that's so weird because, yeah, and now it won't do it because the file's CRC values, because it's partially patched some of the files and then it stopped halfway through. Okay. Gosh. Well, that's unfortunate. I was hoping the startup wouldn't take too long here because now I will need to probably copy the files again. And okay, apologies for that, folks. Don't know why that happened. Let's try this one more time. And this time I'll actually take a different version of the game, just in case that version was glitchy for some reason, because I think the first time I did it with a different copy of the game. So I'm going to go ahead and try it with a different copy of the game this time and see if it works better. So, I'm sorry, I need to copy all the stuff, and I need to copy all the files again. I need to copy the main game files, and then I need to copy the patch files. Well, this is unfortunate. I was, like I was saying, I don't want to take too long before the game. Like, people don't want to see me bumbling around and stuff like this. People just want to see me get into the game. So let's try this one more time. So apply pat. And like I said, it takes about a little under 1.5 minutes. So if all goes well, Windows will not tell me again that DOSBox has performed an illegal operation and will be terminated. Let's see what happens this time. This is a copy of the game that I used the first time, and I didn't want to use this one just because it has some saved games already in it. It's from it was borrowed from a friend, and I guess they saved a bunch of games in it. So I just wanted to have a clean slate with no saved games, and that's why I took the other copy. I thought they were identical, other than that, but maybe they are. I mean, maybe they're not, and maybe some difference caused that crash, although I don't see why it would. Or maybe they are identical, and that was just like a one-time thing, just a Murphy's Law kind of thing, that, of course, it doesn't work the one time when I try it. Because I've done this several times, and it always worked. I never had that happen before. Maybe it's just like the one time when I'm actually doing it while recording, then, of course, it doesn't work. I'm sorry, folks. I hope this... I realize there's maybe like 10% of people who are actually interested in what I'm talking about. There are probably about 10% of you who are like, oh, wow, cool, there's a patch for the game. That's really awesome. I really want to know how to apply the patch by running applypat.bat. And then like 90% of people have already said, what is this nonsense? He should have started the game like 8 minutes ago. Okay, it worked that time. It worked fine. So, okay, we're done. We are ready to start the game now. Sorry about that, folks. So I will go ahead and I believe the executable here is called skidhov. And fun fact, or maybe not fun, but useful fact, the original game does not run properly if you run it while DOSBox is too fast. If you run DOSBox with a high cycles count, this won't be able to initialize the audio. This was actually a common problem, and this is a common problem in DOS games. A lot of DOS games can't initialize the audio if DOSBox is running too fast, but the patch seems to fix that. So I'll just go ahead and run this without changing the cycles count in DOSBox. And... whoops. Oh, goodness gracious me. Okay, I need to quit. Okay, fortunately pressing Control Q at that screen does quit. Or at least it brings up the quit prompt. And notice how their mouth moved? That was... Their mouths were moving at first when this came up. That was an improvement brought in by the patch. Okay, thankfully I could quit without going through the whole introductory sequence. I need to run install. And yes, I don't want to use the internal speaker. I want to use a Sound Blaster card. There we go. You can also run this game in grayscale, like in black and white. Well, it's not black and white. It's gray. It's shades of gray, but of course we want the colors. So we turn for the colors, Sound Blaster. Don't use a joystick. I do want to use the mouse. Use extra memory. Okay. Okay. Again, try. Now it should work, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Yes. As we join our story, the crew of the Arcada is returning home to Xenon after a successful mission developing the star generator. Exhilarated by their accomplishments, they are oblivious to the fact that a sinister craft approaches rapidly from behind. You're startled by the sound of an alarm. Breaking through it, the intercom crackles with the frightened voice of a technician shouting that the Arcada has been boarded by unknown intruders. The transmission ends abruptly in a soundstorm of white noise, soon overtaken by the cold din of silence. Why, the noise gotta be white!
The strike sequence is engaged. 15 minutes till detonation.
Overly cheerful indeed. But let me pause the game just for a bit, because there are a couple of things I want to say. I don't know why. I seem to recall, I haven't seen it now, but I seem to recall when I was a kid playing this game almost 30 years ago, that sometimes it's 30 minutes. Mostly it's 15 minutes, but occasionally it's 30 minutes. Maybe it's just random. I don't know. And also, in that introductory sequence, by the way, first of all, I love the music. I think that is one of that might be actually my favorite rendition of the Space Quest theme. I love it. I love that theme music of this remake. They've done such good things with this remix. I really love that music. But also, what you might have noticed, it paused at the end of the credits. It paused just a little bit. There was a moment where there were no credits, because what it was doing was it was waiting till the music finished. It waited for the initial music loop to finish. If you have a fast PC, I remember back in the day we had a 486, which was, you know, fast for the time, and the credits went by fast enough that the music wouldn't quite finish before that sequence with the two ships, before the music changed to that sequence with the Arcada and the Deltar. So one of the things the patch does is it pauses the credits until the first music loop finishes, which is nice, so you can hear the whole thing. And also, if I go here in the control panel and look at the credits quickly, you'll see it shows version 2.1 of the game now. The first in the semi-popular series, version 2.1, the fan-patched version. And yeah, since we're here, let's take a look at the following hard-working, self-sacrificing people who probably deserve a lot more money for their unreal efforts, and who made this game possible. I'm not going to read all this, but thank you to the artists, thank you to the music and sound effects people, thank you to the system developers, thank you to the people who provided additional material, special contributions, and the nearly incredible programmers. Alright, let's play Space Quest 1. Now, you folks probably already know the story. I mean, I'm not going to explain too much about the story. Interestingly enough, the game doesn't really explain the story in-game. Unlike the original version of Space Quest 1, I guess they figured that most people know the story, and if not, you could read it in the manual. Well, let me speed. I always play these games with speed at maximum, just because I prefer Roger walking a little faster. So, when I played the original Space Quest 1, looking back on it, those of you who saw my Let's Play of it recently, you might remember I was a little bit down on it. I don't dislike the game, but coming back to it now and actually playing through it, I came to realize it's a little bit underwhelming, because there's not much to it. Like, you know, the Arcada, it was very flat, and there wasn't really much going on in it. They've done a lot here to make it a little more amped up. I mean, fundamentally, it's the same game. These are the same screens, but they look a lot more detailed. There's a lot more nuance in the artwork here. And there's music obviously playing in the background now. Oh, I hear footsteps. Let's hide in the closet. You have just stumbled into a small, dark, and very cluttered utility closet. Many things fall and most of them land on you. It doesn't say much for your cleaning prowess. Yeah, here we go. These guys look scary, but then don't most other beings packing weapons? Can we talk to them? Oh, failing to notice anyone or anything in the room, the Syrian guards decide to check elsewhere. Way to go, Roger. These guys carry weapons. How wise do you think that is to talk to them? Oh yeah, and a thing in the Space Quest games, which other Sierra games with a point-and-click interface did not do, is there are smell and taste icons here. Can we smell these guys? You need to be closer for that. Okay, fine. So these are, I don't think these are ever useful. I can't think of one instance where these are actually used to solve a puzzle. They're just kind of to elicit additional messages. But, you know, that's nice. I mean, games are fun, so it's nice to have fun little additional stuff in games. Kind of like that zipper icon. The point-and-click Leisure Suit Larry games had a zipper icon, which also, I think, doesn't do anything or very rarely does anything. It's mostly just there for laughs. Anyway, okay. And actually, it didn't really act as a zipper, it acted more like a penis. It was basically a euphemized, the zipper cursor in Leisure Suit Larry is a euphemized penis cursor. But anyway, we're not playing that, we're playing Space Quest. So let's move on. And this is the data archive. An interesting array of devices, none of which you know how to operate or are provided for data study by those with proper clearance. See, again, they've done so much with this. Like, it's the same basic room, but it's a lot more detailed, you know? I've often said that I don't care too much about graphics in games, I care more about gameplay, and I still stand by that statement, but good graphics, good presentation adds a lot to a game. Space Quest 1, the original Space Quest 1 is a good game, but I feel like this remake adds a lot more to it because it takes the same fundamental game and it just adds so much in terms of the audio and visual presentation. And, you know, they were saying, you know, this is a remake. It's the same game that we've already made, so we don't need to do anything with the story or anything. We want to make... It's a remake. It is a remake. This was, you know, one of the original remakes in 1991, so it has to be really good. So they went all out with the graphics and the audio. I think this game looks really good. I really appreciate what they've done with it here. So we have this little robot here. It's a Model DX cartridge unit. Its function is to retrieve and return its cartridge to the storage unit. It is currently empty. So we can't do much with it now. Those pinchers look quite nasty. So these data cartridges are in these secure storage modules, but we can't just go poking around in them. We have to get the cartridges through the robot here. So we could do that, but let's move on just for a bit. We'll come back to that later. And yeah, I mentioned when I was playing the original Space Quest 1, I never figured this out. In this game, it's really easy. Look at this guy's corpse. This is all that remains of Jerry, one of the few techno dudes aboard who sometimes tolerated your company. Your low clearance excluded you from visiting him during the performance of his duties in the elegant lower-level airlock of the Arcada. And then you do what comes naturally and click all the cursors on him. And you search his body and find a key card. See, in this game, the puzzles are so easy. I find this game a lot easier than the original version because it's point and click, you know? Like, that's the thing. A lot of puzzles, which may have been quite challenging in parser-based games, often become really easy in point and click because you don't have multiple actions. You have literally just one hand icon that does everything. I mean, okay, you have look and talk, and in this case, smell and taste. But everything else is done with the hand, whether it's take or manipulate or push or pull or turn or, you know, otherwise do something with your hand. Everything is combined into one cursor. So it makes some puzzles really easy. So yeah, so what do we have here? We have, oh, also we start this game with some Buckazoids. We have, okay, 3 Buckazoids is not a lot, but it's enough. And this keycard fits an electronic lock someplace on the Arcada. Okay. Can we talk to this guy? Funny, no response. He smells like Jerry. I don't think you really want to taste Jerry, but then who knows? I'm gonna click a set. Okay, can't do that. All right. So yeah, if we come down here, oh, I hear footsteps. Where are the footsteps coming from? Let's see. Are they coming from upstairs or? Oh, they're up there. Okay. This game does have a little bit of mercy. If you find that you're on a level where the Sarians show up, you do have time to run. That's why I was standing in front of the elevator, because if they suddenly showed up here, you can't actually go into the elevator and escape them, or even go off this way and escape them like that. Let's see. The rest of these people are not really... Dave, a lab technician, is dead. Normally he wouldn't be able to detect that his intestines are hanging out the scorched opening where his abdominal wall used to be. You remembered he was forced to serve in the Xeno National Guard, but he wasn't bitter. Oh, I hear footsteps again. Mr. David reveals nothing even you'd carry. Okay, once again we hear footsteps. Where are the footsteps coming from? I'm ready to run. See, I've got the cursor on the left in case they're coming from this level. Come on, guys. Come on, guys, we haven't got all day. Show up. Do I need to go somewhere else before they'll oh, okay. The items reserved for handiwork briefly before looking for others should process in a similar fashion. Okay. As you lie on the floor in a smoldering carbo-gelatinous heap, you just can't help but wonder why you bothered getting up this morning. Okay. Unfortunately, I did not save my game, so I'll have to go ahead and restart. But I didn't really do anything except take that key card, so didn't lose a lot of progress. But you saw what I meant. Like the Sarians were coming from the left side, and I had some time to walk. I had too far of a walk. I had to go too far, but actually I could have potentially escaped them. All right, so what do we do? So we get the key card from here. One thing I do appreciate that they did with this game is they made a lot of messages. So like what I was showing off here. Okay, now where are the footsteps coming from? You know, I'm just gonna go off screen and come back. Hopefully that'll fix it. More footsteps. Dead people sure are boring. Gee, it doesn't smell bitter. Taste him. Still not bitter, just like you thought. See, one thing I appreciate that they did here is they created unique messages for a lot of things. Again, because this was a remake, they went all out. I kind of criticized the original game for being a little bit lackluster. I felt kind of like they were a little bit lazy with some of the rooms in that game, like they were just bare rooms with no real messages or functionality or anything in them. And I feel like they really tried to compensate for that. They went all out on this. A lot of things have unique messages, which I think is really cool. I really appreciate it when they go to the effort of making unique messages like this and not just having everything have the same generic message like, oh, it's a dead person, you don't find anything on them. And this person here will probably... This is one of the head research scientists, Blanche. You wanted to get to know her a little better. However, seeing her ruptured chest wall reveals more about her than you were hoping to learn. Oh, can we... Yes, we made it. We escaped. Okay. This here is the research platform where the star generator was mounted for testing. The base of the star generator research pedestal has apparently been trashed by the vandals who stole the generator. This is the upper support for the star generator when it is affixed to the pedestal. So most of the stuff in this room is useless. We can look at the other corpses here. Yet another crewman's motionless body reduces the shine of the floor wax. Hugh doesn't look too neat and clean with his lungs hanging out like that. Sorry, I'm trying to read fast because, see, the thing is, there's a lot of stuff in this game, and I don't want to get stuck on it too long because I know people don't like it when I kind of get stuck on technicalities and details like this, but there's just so much here. They've put so much in this remake. That's why I like it so much. They've done so much with it. Research of the body reveals nothing. I think Hugh might have missed a shower or two, or perhaps his body got sweaty from the heat of that laser blast. Either you have taste for sweat or you didn't smell him before you tried to taste him. Alright, who's this over here? The lifeless body of Randy, one of the lab technicians, lies sprawled at your feet. Those laser blasts sure are nasty. Why, you can't distinguish one exposed organ from another. Reveals nothing. Randy's even quieter in this state. Normally pleasant guy to talk with. You is pretty darn boring now. Randy's recently re-exposed and reheated lunch smells pretty good. You start to regret having slept through lunch. Although it's darn tempting, all this tension has your stomach churning. The last thing it needs is more stomach acid, especially from someone else's stomach. See, this is the real... I think that they were... By they, I mean the two guys from Andromeda and Sierra in general, actually. I think they were really hitting their stride at this point. I think this is Sierra at their finest. This is them hitting on all cylinders. This is a real full-fledged game. It's just dripping with atmosphere. The graphics are great. The music is great. Everything about this game is so well done. I just feel like it's a huge step up from the original Space Quest. Funnily enough, Scott Murphy says he hates this game. I believe Scott Murphy has like disowned this game and says he doesn't like this remake. I have no idea why. I don't know what his reasons are for that. I feel like it's so much better, honestly. And most of this text here is Scott's text. I mean, Scott Murphy is the guy who has the really dark sense of humor. So most of these very darkly like black humor things were actually from his mind and his, you know, this is his text. So I don't know why he dislikes this game so much. I think it's great. This is absolutely fantastic. Now you know why you didn't have the clearance for this place. You don't understand what most of this crap does. This thing looks like a giant speaker for the cosmos. Maybe it is. I'm trying to look at everything because I'm trying not to miss anything cool, and there's just so much cool stuff in this remake. Oh, here we go. This is what I should have looked at first. This is the Star Generator Development Laboratory. Due to your incredibly low security clearance, you have never had access to this room. What a mess. Wreckage clutters the middle of the floor. A pair of lab workers have been blasted from the roster of the living. You're glad somebody else has to clean this up. Why does somebody else have to clean it up? You're the janitor. Well, we are the janitor. We should have to clean it up. This is a star chart. It was used for locating candidates to test the Star Generator on once the bulk of the development process was completed. The glass globe atop the console is inactive at this time. The mess of wiring up inside reminds you of how your hair looks after a nap. Can't do anything with that. Or that. Okay. What we can do something with is, you see this little thing here? You find a small but heavy device affixed to the base of the Star Generator platform. It appears to be magnetic. That must be how the aliens have set the force field protecting the unit. I think that's not a very good force field if it can be deactivated by a magnet. It's like if you can deactivate a security device by attaching a magnet to it, you might want to redesign that security device. But it's too late now. Let's go ahead and take it. So what do we have now? We have a genuine widget. You're not sure what it does, but it's heavy, it looks cool, and it might be magnetic. Please keep this away from the game discs, indeed, because this was, of course, the time when games like this came on floppy disks, which were magnetic. Oh, and continuing the theme of unique messages, folks, check this out. Most of the things in this game, like most of the inventory items, I mentioned this when I was playing Freddy Farkas, and I'll mention it here again. I love it when games do this, when they don't just have a generic message like, these two things don't work together. They actually have, well, okay, they're not all winners. They're not all brilliant messages, but these are mostly unique messages. You can't imagine why you're putting the keycard on the widget. Well, I'm doing it because I want to see all the messages. I really appreciate it when they take the effort to do stuff like this. Like I said, they went all out with this. It means a lot to me. Maybe it seems like a very small detail, but it means a lot to me when game writers go to the trouble of having unique messages for the things and not just saying, those two don't work together, which a lot of games did. So that's one thing I really appreciate about this game. All right, let's get out of here and... there goes that robot again. Let's go back upstairs and check out what's happening with your footsteps. We can... There we go. We escaped. So, there's... Hey! The door opens. A man you recognize as one of the head lab scientists stumbles into the room. He appears to be in serious need of some Abdo-Seal abdomen filler. After only a few steps, he hits the floor with a disconcerting thud. Oh, that was pretty disconcerting. Kind of points at the cartridges here. A large laser hole has been burned in his uniform, giving you a nice view of previously unexposed tissue. Struggling painfully, he props himself up on one elbow. His lips move. The Star Generator is in danger. The Arcada is under attack. You'd better get off the scow if you value your life, Wilco. Just before his system cease all functions short of decay, he looks over towards the shelves full of cartridges and utters Van Allen belts. With one last gasp, his lifeless form slumps to the floor. Now, if you remember the original game, the original Space Quest, the cartridge that he mentions is always called Astral Body, and you just need to type in the name Astral Body. Here, it works a little bit differently. Let's go ahead and sit down at this console here. Anything here that we can see? Highly decorative illumination devices for the console. This is all very kind of retro futuristic. This is all like kind of how high-tech looked in the 1950s, 1960s. Alright. Somebody wasted the CRT, but this system still works. It just, you don't have anything on the screen. So yeah, this is the game's copy protection, or one of two parts. The game has two instances where it has a document check copy protection routine like this. This is the first one. And I don't think the original game really had copy protection, or if it did, you know, maybe the discs were like actually copy protected, but there was no manual check in that game. But yeah, in this game they have a couple of manual checks, so this is the first one. So hold on, I need to pull up my copy of the manual. Space Quest 1, let's see. Okay, Van Allen belts. So it looks like it's going to be... There are, how many? Looks like 20? Yeah, 20. There are 20 possibilities. There are 20 names for the cartridges. So you first need to get the name of the cartridge from the guy, and then you punch in the code from the manual. So for Van Allen belts, it's that again, and that. Enter. Cartridge found. Now retrieving. Nice. Oh, we can't even look at the droid. Okay. You see a data cartridge clasped in the droid's manipulator. Cool. All right. Hey, we have a cartridge now. It's a cartridge from the Arcadis data archive. Can I click on this on some other stuff here? You realize that putting the key card on the cartridge was a pretty dumb idea. Yeah, they do things in reverse. I actually put the cartridge on the key card, but it acts as if I put the key card on the cartridge. You decide not to get the magnetic widget near the data cartridge. The cartridge has no need of your money. All right. Yeah, like I said, the messages aren't all winners, but okay, we've already seen pretty much everything that there is to see on this upper area here, so we can go down. Oh, I hear footsteps. Let's hightail it out of there. And I think where we need to go is, yeah, it's here. This is Stuart, one of your crewmates. He appears to be non-functional. You used to kid him out about it when he was alive, but now it's true. Other than carbonized materials, your search reveals nothing. Boy, I hope this isn't becoming a new hobby.
10 minutes.
Oh, 10 minutes. All right. Save the game here. Oh, yeah. See what I mean? These are these games are from someone else. These are not mine. But that's okay. I'll delete these later. Fortunately, newer versions of Sierra games, of SCI games like this, have a delete button, so you can delete old save games. That was not the case in the original SCI games. I'll go ahead and save here. Got cartridge. Just in case those Sarians kill me. Funny, no response. On the second thought, maybe you shouldn't wipe your nose on Stuart's clothes. Oh, that's really sick. You really just... Now it tells me it's sick. I tried to lick like every person in every dead body in the ship, and now it tells me suddenly, oh, you're really sick now, sir. All right. Let's go ahead and... Can we get to this elevator? Yes, we did. All right. All right. All right. I think we're relatively safe here. I think there are relatively few Sarians here, and I think we've done everything we need to do upstairs. So I'll save again. I mean, I just saved. I'll just go ahead and save again downstairs. That'll do for now. Okay. That's it. I'll go ahead and leave that as the first video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Sorry it got off to a bit of a rocky start, but I hope the rest was worth it. And sorry I'm talking so fast. I'm so excited. I'm just so excited about this game because I really love this game. Honestly, like I feel a bit bad for how I kind of was down on the original game. I think I was more negative about it than I really wanted to be, but it's just because compared to this game, it really, in my opinion, it just doesn't compare to this. This one is so good. It's so much better in every possible way. So I'm really amped. I'm really psyched to be playing this game. Hope that you folks are enjoying watching, and that's probably why I'm talking so fast, because I'm thinking very quickly, and my mouth is trying to keep up with my brain, which is not. It's not doing very well. My mouth is not that fast. But anyway, again, thanks for watching, everyone. I will talk to you in the next episode. Until next time, take care, everybody, and ta-ta and bye-bye for now.